that question. Then finally, we came down to the Vishnu Sahasranamam proper as such. The first 6 slokas of Vishnu Sahasranamam, which are of course not found in the Mahabharata, 2 each. That is 2 slokas for removing the obstacles or the hurdles that come in the way of our spiritual progress. The other 2 slokas, the next 2 slokas are in praise of Vyasa Bhagavan, who is the author of the Mahabharata, who gave us this Vishnu Sahasranamam. The last 2 slokas are with respect to the Ati Devata of the Vishnu Sahasranama, who is the Mahavishnu. So in praise of the Mahavishnu as such. So these are the 6 slokas we just completed last week. Now let's move on to the next sloka. The next sloka, the 7th sloka in the Purva Bhaga is Shri Vaisampayana Uvacha Shrutva Dharmana Seshena Pavanani Cha Sarvashaha Yudhishthira Shantanavam Punareva Vyabhashata.
Pranita Madupuji? Pranita ji?
Yes, sir.
You can repeat that sloka. You can chant that sloka. That goes.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Like we are doing the 6th sloka, right, sir?
Seventh
one.
Okay.
Vaisampayana Uvacha.
Yeah. Shri Vaishampayana Uvacha Shrutva Dharmana Sheshena Pavanani Cha Sarvashaha Yudhishthira Shantanavam Punareva Vyabhashataha.
Okay, now the first is Shri Vaisampayana Uvacha. Uvacha means said. Shri Vaisampayana said. So suddenly you find a person who is this Vaisampayana. So the Mahabharata, if you look at Mahabharata, Mahabharata is a conversation between Vaishampayana and Janamejaya. Like Srimad Bhagavatam, people who have read Srimad Bhagavatam will know that it is a conversation by Sri Shuka and Parikshit. Like that, the Mahabharata is between Vaishampayana and Janamejaya. Sri Vedavyasa composed this Mahabharata, which is the greatest, one of the Itihasas. So before composing it, he had that the urge to say these various slokas, and therefore he was praying to Brahma, asking him, saying that I have this kind of an urge to compose this Mahabharata, but it's gushing out like the various poems are coming out of my mind. I want somebody to write it for me. So he prayed to Brahmaji, and therefore Brahmaji came to him and said, okay, you take the help of Ganesh Bhagavan. Ganeshji will help you out to write out this Mahabharata. So he went and requested Ganeshji, saying that I want to write this Mahabharata, so you please help me out in writing out this. He was the first official stenographer. If you can't find the spiritual one, the official stenographer is Sri Ganesh Bhagavan. So he said, I will do it for you, but I want to have one condition. He said, okay, what is that condition? There should not be any pause in between. So you'll have to keep on chanting the slokas and I'll keep on writing. There should not be any pause in between. So Bhagavan Vyasa said, yes, I can do that, but I also will put you one condition for that. So he said, what is that condition? He said, whatever you write, you should understand the meaning of that and then only you should start writing it. So in between, therefore, Vyasa Bhagavan gave a lot of philosophical slokas. So it took some time for Ganesh Bhagavan to understand the meaning of that, and therefore that's how the whole thing happened. Even if you go, people who have gone to Badrinath will find that beyond this Badrinath, there is a village called Mana. In that Mana, you will find the Vyasa Gufa and the Ganesh Gufa, so adjacent to each other. So the entire Mahabharata was recited to Vyasa Bhagavan in Badrinath, and the Ganesh Bhagavan was in the adjacent Gufa. He was listening to the whatever Vyasa Bhagavan said, and therefore he was taking down all these slokas. Having composed this Mahabharata, what Vyasa Bhagavan did was he gave this Mahabharata to one of his disciples called Vaishampayana. Vyasa Bhagavan had a lot of disciples. In fact, as I told you last week, he classified the Vedas into Rig, Yajur, Sama, and Atharvana into four parts. The Rigs are the mantra portion, the Yajus or like the instructions and prose portion of how to conduct various yajnas and havans. Sama is all the Ganam. Ganam is that the music portion of it, and Atharvana the rest. So that is how we classified them. And classified and gave to each one of them. For instance, Rig Veda, he gave it to Paila Rishi. Then Yajur Veda, he gave it to Vaisampayana. To Jaimini, he gave the Sama Veda, and to Sumantu, he gave the Atharvana Veda. So Vaisampayana is one of his disciples. So he taught the Vaisampayana. The Vaisampayana was taught about the Mahabharata. So subsequently, what happened is in the lineage of the Pandavas, there was a king called Janamejaya. Now, Arjuna, let's come back to the original Mahabharata. Mahabharata, Arjuna is one of the Pancha Pandavas. And Arjuna, apart from Draupadi, had one or two more wives. One was of the Nagakanya, and the other one is Subhadra. Subhadra is the cousin sister of Sri Krishna, the direct sister of Balarama. So Arjuna married Subhadra also as one of his wives. And through her, there was a son called Abhimanyu. You must have heard of Abhimanyu's story in the Mahabharata Kurukshetra war, where in the Chakravyuha he has been killed in adharmic way by all the Karna and few other people. So Abhimanyu later on married a person called the princess of Virata, called Uttara. And to Abhimanyu and this Uttara is born the Vishnurata, also called as Parikshit. Vishnurata is the son of Abhimanyu. Now this Parikshit had a very, his end was in a very dramatic way. So Parikshit was a great king. Even when in his birth itself, he was saved by Krishna. You must have heard of this story that Ashwatthama, after the Kurukshetra war was over, he was so much vengeful against the Pandavas. He wanted to entirely kill the entire Pandava Vamsa. He didn't want the entire Vamsa of Pandavas to be alive. So at the end of the 18th day at night, he went to the various tents and killed all the five sons of Draupadi. Draupadi had one son through each of the Pandavas. All the five of them were killed at night. The only lineage, only thing that was available at that point of time, because even Abhimanyu was killed before in the battle. Abhimanyu's son was was a fortress in his mother's womb, in Uttara's womb. So he released what is known as the Brahma. The Brahma Siras is one of the astras which he learned from his father Drona, and he used it against the entire Pandavas. So then immediately Arjuna, on the advice of Krishna, used the Brahmastram to stop that. But then, on the advice of Vyasa, he withdrew the Brahmastra. But then this Astram of this Ashwatthama went and killed the only the lineage available in that Pandava Vamsa, that is that Parikshit. So immediately Krishna went to the womb of on request of Uttara. He went to a room and revived that child, and that's how the Parikshit was born. So he was, even at the time of birth, he was protected by Lord Krishna. Now this Parikshit, what happened was, he was a great ruler. He was able to run the kingdom very well. So what happened was, that was the time when Kali Purusha, that the Kali Yuga was just born. After the advent of Lord Krishna was the Kali Yuga.
Sorry,
I think
Sir,
Guruji lost connection. He should be joining back. In the meantime, please have your names put in on the chat for attendance sake, so that will be helpful.
Sorry, I lost the link. I'm sorry.
No problem, Guruji.
So what happened was, then one day when this Parikshit was going into the forest, he met the Kali Purusha on the way. Therefore, he wanted to kill the Kali Purusha because he was the person who was, he was the person responsible for all this adharma in this age. But then Kali Purusha said, this is the age that has been given to me by Lord. So as a king, you have got to provide me some protection. So you tell me the place where I should live, then I will live on those places. So he gave him 4 places. Dyutam means all this, gambling. Then the other place is Suna, that means violence, where the people are being killed and all those things. The third place is Striya. Striya means the Vaishya Stri, where people engage in illicit sex. And fourth one is Madhu. That means all this liquor. So these are the 4 places where Kali Purusha is supposed to reside in this one. And lastly, the Kali Purusha says, give me one more place, and he gave him the gold. Gold is another place where the Kali Purusha is. These are the 5 places where Kali will have an effect. If you keep yourself away from all these 5 places, you will be away from the clutches of Kali. So having given these places to Kali, he went into the forest. He was so tired. So he went into he came across a hermitage, an ashrama, which was by a rishi called Samika. So he was in samadhi avastha. That means he was in completely away from this world. And therefore, when the king asked him for some food and some water to drink, he couldn't listen at all because he was in samadhi avastha. So the king was so much upset with that. So he saw some dead snake on the side of him. So he just put it as a dead snake as a garland on the samika and then came back. Then this was known by the hermits, the Samika's son called Sringi. So immediately he got angry and then gave a curse that within 7 days from this king will be killed by Takshaka, one of the scorpion, one of the what you call poisonous snakes. So at the end of during that 7 days only, he met Shuka Rishi, and therefore that is how the Srimad Bhagavatam was given by Shuka Rishi to Parikshit. So what happened was on the 7th day, Takshaka came in the form of a lemon, then got into a place and then killed. He was bitten by this Takshaka and he was killed. So Janamejaya is the son of Parikshit. So Janamejaya is so much upset that his father has been killed by the Sarpa. So he does a Sarpa Yaga. That means where he did a penance where he called all this, during the mantras, all these snakes were called and then they were all given as an offering in the fire. So at that time, this Rishi, this Vaishampayana comes and says, you should not do that because everybody born in this world will have to die. There are some reasons for each person to die, and therefore your father has also lived a full life and therefore he had to die, and therefore it was only a curse of that one that he had to die, and therefore you should not do these kind of penances, and therefore he stopped him. And then he says, your lineage is so great, your Pandavas were so much close to Krishna, and therefore you should know about all these deeds, and that is how this Vaisampayana talks to Janameja, and that's the whole Mahabharata starts. So that is the setting in which Vaisampayana comes in this scene. So Vaisampayana tells Janameja, who is the great grandson of Arjuna, he says, Shrutva dharmana seshena pavanani cha sarvasaha yudhishthira shantanavam punareva vyabhashata. So Shrutva dharman aseshena. Shrutva means having listened. Having listened to what? Dharman aseshena. Dharman means all this, because as I told you, this is the Anusasana Parva, 13th Parva of Mahabharata, where the Bhishma Pitamahar tells him about all the dharmas, like he talks about the Apad Dharma, he talks about Raja Dharma, he talks about Moksha Dharma, he talks about Varna Dharma, he talks about Ashram. So all dharmas, aseshena means with leaving anything in balance. That means fully, sarvasaha, completely. Having listened to all these dharmas fully, pavanani means very pure, pavana. Having listened to the pure dharma in complete form, Yudhishthira, Shantanavam means Shantanoho apatyam pumane Shantanava. That means Santanu's son is Bhishma. Bhishma's father is Shantanu Raja Maharaja. So Shantanava is Bhishma Pitama, who is the son of Santanu. Punaha Yeva, again, Abhyabhashata means again asked him. So having listened to all the dharmas given by Bhishma Pitamaha, Yudhishthira again asked Bhishma Pitama, asks him these questions. What are these questions? The next two slokas are the 6 questions which Yudhishthira asked Bhishma Pitamaha. Yudhishthira uvacha kimekam deivatam loke kim vapyekam parayanam stuvantakam kamarchanta prapnya yurmanava shubham ho dharma sarva dharmanam bhavata paramo matah kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat. Somebody can recite these 2 slokas because these 2 slokas combine ask the 6 questions which Yudhishthira asks.
Sure. Deepti ji, Deepti Ventrapragada. Satyapriya Mohanraj, can you chant these slokas?
You are on mute, madam.
We are not able to hear you, ma'am. 8 and 9.
Wish 1 minute and sorry.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you can hear you now.
Sure, thank you. Kimekam taivadam loke kim vapyekam parayanam stuvanta kamachanta prapnya yurmanava subham
Next also.
dharmana bhavadamo madah kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhanat.
So Yudhishthira Uvacha, Yudhishthira asked this question. What is the question? First question is Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Loke in this world. Kim, which Ekam, which is the predominant, one single deity. Who is the most prominent deity in this world? That is the first question. Kimekam Daivatam Loke. Who is the greatest Devata in this world? One. Second, Kimva Api Ekam Parayanam. And who is the person who is the ultimate refuge? That means to whom does all beings in this world ultimately go to? So that is the second question. Third question, Stuvantakam. Who should be praised? Stuvantaha means who should be praised. Stuti. Kam Archantaha. Who should be worshipped? Archantaha means to worship. For what? Manavaha. That means Manavaha means this human beings. Prapnuyuhu. Prapnuyuhu means Shubham. That means the human beings attain auspiciousness or get good things by praising him and worshipping him. So these are the four questions in the first question. First question is, who is the greatest God in this world? Who is the ultimate refuge or to whom all the people go? Find who should be worshipped and who should be praised. So these are the four questions that are asked in the first question, first sloka. Second sloka, Ko dharmas sarva dharmanam bhavata paramo mataha. You taught me so many dharmas, sarva dharmanam. So all these, among all these dharmas, kaha dharma, which is the prominent dharma. So you taught me so many dharmas. Tell me what is the important dharma of what you have taught me. Bhavata paramo mataha. Bhavataha, according to you. According to you, what is the most important dharma? So don't tell me that this sloga, this Shastra says this, that Shastra says this. According to you, because you have known dharma very well than anybody else in this world. So you tell me according to you, which is the best dharma that you have taught me so far. So that is the fifth question. Kim japan muchyate jantur janma samsara bandhana. Japan, Kim japan muchyate, Kim japan, that means chanting whose names, jantu whom all the living beings, muchyate means get relieved. From what? Janma samsara bandhana, from the samsara bandham. That is the birth and death cycle. How does chanting whose name the living beings, all the living beings in this world get liberated from this samsara bandham? So that is the sixth question. So the six questions are: first question, who is the chief deity in this world? Who is the ultimate refuge or to whom we should all go? Third thing is who should be worshipped. Third thing is who should be praised. Fourth thing is who should be worshipped. Fifth thing is according to which is the best dharma that I should follow. The sixth one is whose name should be chanted for the living beings or for all the beings to be liberated from this Janma Samsara Bandhana. So that is these are the six questions which Yudhishthira asked Bhishma Pitamaha. And Bhishma Pitamaha answers them, all of them, but not in the same order, not in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has in a different order. Shri Bhishma Uvacha Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purushas Satatotitaha.
Deepti ji. Deepti garu.
Which shloka andi? Is it 9?
10th one.
10.
Okay. Sri Bhishma Uvacha Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottamam Stuvan Nama Sahasrena Purushas Satatotitaha.
So the sixth question is answered first. So he says, Jagat Prabhu. Sixth question is what? Chanting whose names all these beings get liberated from this world, this samsara chakra. Jagat Prabhum. Jagat means who is the leader, who is the lord of this entire universe. Jagat is the entire universe. Who is the lord of this entire universe? Deva Devam, who is the lord of the lords themselves. Deva Dev, who is the best among the devas themselves. Anantam. Antam means end. Anantam means not, who doesn't have any end. That means he is present in all periods of time and he is present everywhere. He is not conditioned by time and space. He is called Anantam. Purushottamam, who is the chief among Purusha means Atma. Among all the Atmas, he is the best Atma, Purushottamam. Stuvan Nama Sahasrena. So having chanting this 1,000 names of this Lord, who is the Lord of this entire universe, who is the best among the Devas, who is not limited by time and space, and who is the best among all the Jivas, chanting the 1,000 names of this of the Lord. Purushaha means Jivatma, this Jivatma. Satatotitaha. Satataha means always. Uttitaha means Uttita means gets liberated. That means he is always liberated from this world by chanting the 1,000 names of the Lord. So that's what Kim Japan Muchyate Jantu is the sixth question. And he is answering the sixth question first. Jagat Prabhum Devadevam Anantam Purushottam Stuvannama Sahasrena Purushas Satatotita. Having chanting the 1,000 names of the Lord, the person gets completely liberated from this Janma Samsara Bandha. The next question, the next sloka. Tameva charchayan nityam bhaktya purushamavyayam dhyayan stuvannamasyamscha yajamanas
Pramila Duvara. Pramila ji.
Yes, I'm here. Tameva chachayan nityam bhaktya purushamavyayam dhyayan stuvan namasyamscha yajamanas cha.
Okay, now he is answering the fourth question. Who should be worshipped? Archayan. So he says, Tameva charchayanitam. Tam means he. Who he said about the Purushottama or the Mahavishnu. He alone should be. Tameva charchayan nityam. He alone has to be Archayan nityam, should be worshipped every day. So he should be worshipped every day. Tameva charchayan nityam. Bhaktya, with love and devotion. Purusham avyayam. So that means he is the immutable. Avyam is immutable, who cannot be destroyed. Avyam Purusham. So is the Mahavishnu Purusha. So he alone has to be worshipped every day along with the complete devotion. Dhyayan, he should be meditated upon. Stuvan, he should be praised. Namasyamsya, he should be worshipped. Namasyamsya yajamanas tamevacha. Yajamanas means, Yajamana means he is the Lord. He is the supreme Lord of all the human beings. Yajamanas tamevacha. So he alone, Mahavishnu alone, has to be worshipped every day with love and devotion. A person who is immutable, and he should be meditated upon, he should be worshipped, and he should be praised. So that is the person. So this answers the second question. Who should be the fourth question? Archayan. So he should be worshipped. The next question is Stuvan. Third question. Who should be Stuvan Nityam? He asked the third question. No, the third question is Stuvan Suvantakam. So the next sloka is who should be praised. So that is the answer found in the sloka number 12. Anadinidanam Vishnum Sarva Loka Maheshwaram Lokadhyacham Stuvan Nityam Sarva Dukkatiko Bhavet.
Sahiti Swarna.
Okay, I'm good. Anadinidhanam Vishwam Sarvalokamaheeshwaram Lokadhyaksham Stuvan Nityam Sarva Dukkatigo Bhavet.
Okay. Anadi means beginning. Anadi doesn't have a beginning. When does something have a beginning? If something has a beginning, only it did not exist at some point of time. If it did not exist at some point of time, it has a beginning. Since he doesn't have any, he is present all periods of time, the present, past, present, and future. There is no question when there was a time when he was not there, and therefore he is called as Anadi. Nidhanam, Anadi means Anadi Nidhanam. Nidhanam is end. He also doesn't have end. When something something ceases to exist at a point of time, then it has got an end. There is no time when he is not present. Therefore, he doesn't have both beginning and the end. Anadi Nidhanam means one without beginning and the end. Vishnu means one who is all pervasive. He is present everywhere. Throughout this entire universe, he is present. There is no place where he is not there. So Anadi Nidhanam is talking about the time concept. Vishnu talks about the space concept. Space means he is present everywhere. That is, he is not limited by the space. Supposing if I say I am here, that means I am not in some other place. So I am conditioned by this space. Whereas Mahavishnu is present everywhere. So there is no place when he is not there. So he is not conditioned by space. So he is not conditioned by time and he is not conditioned by space. Anadi Nidhanam Vishnu. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. That means all these 14 lokas, the 7 lokas in the above and 7 lokas below. Bhurbhuva Suvaha Mahaha Janaha Tapaya Satyam. These are the 7 lokas above. Atala Vitala Sutala Talatala Mahatala Patala. So these are the 7 lokas below. So all these 14 lokas, for the entire 14 lokas, he is the Maheshwaram, he is the Supreme Lord. Ishwaram means is the ability to control the entire 14 lokas. Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. Lokadhyacham. That means he is the leader of this entire lokas. Stuvan Nityam. And he should be praised every day. So that means he is the person who should be praised every day. What for? Sarva Dukkha Diko Bhavet. For us to completely come out of all these sorrows. Sarva Dukkha. All our sorrows. If you want to come out of all your sorrows, he needs to be praised every day. This is the meaning of the sloka number 12. Okay, look, next question. Brahmanyam sarvadharmagyam lokanam kirtivardhanam lokanatam mahadbhutam sarvabhuta bhavodbhavam. So somebody can chant this sloka.
I can go, Vishti.
Yes.
Brahmanyam sarvadharmagnam lokanam kirtivardhanam lokanatham mahadbhutam sarvabhuta bhavodbhavam.
Okay, Brahmanyam. Brahmanyam means Brahma is one of the meaning is tapas. So one who is the supporter of this tapas and who is the author of this tapas itself is called Brahmanya. So Brahmanyam Sarva Dharmagyam, who knows the entire dharma, the complete nuances of dharma is completely known to him. If you look at chapter 1 of Bhagavad Gita, the way where the Arjuna laments, you will completely agree with what Arjuna says. He says, why should I fight with my gurus? Why should I fight my kith and kin and kill them and then get this kingdom and all those things? So Bhagavan says, your dharma, you are talking from the point of view of Arjuna as a relative of Duryodhana and as the disciple of Drona and so on. But you are born as a Kshatriya. So as a Kshatriya, your duty is to protect dharma. When somebody is on the side of adharma, even though he may be your kith and kin or even if you see your own guru, you will have to fight as a Kshatriya to establish dharma. So that is the nuances of dharma. So even though he may be, of course, protecting the kith and kin is also one of the dharma. If there is a conflict in the dharma, which dharma supersedes the other dharma? That was the nuance of dharma, and that is what Bhagavan says. As a Kshatriya, you have got to fight to re-establish dharma. So that is what your dharma is. That supersedes your dharma as kith and kin of Duryodhana and others. So he knows the complete nuances of the dharma. Sarva dharmagyam lokanam kirtivardhanam. So one who spreads the fame, name and fame against in this whole world. Vardhana means who grows the fame and name and fame of the entire universe. Lokanatham Mahadbhutam. Lokanatham means who is the Lord of this entire universe. Mahadbhutam. That means he is the greatest being in this world. One of the meaning of Bhutam is the being. He is the greatest being because he is present everywhere and he has got the complete Vishwarupam. That means the entire universe is his form and therefore he is the greatest being. Sarva Bhuta Bhavodbhavam. That means the entire five bhutas, the Pancha Bhutas arise from him. Udbhavam. That means the entire five bhutas, the Akasha, space, air, then the fire, then water, then the earth, the Pancha Bhutas, all these things arise from the Lord himself. So he first becomes Mahat, and from Mahat comes all these five Pancha Mahabhuta. First comes the space, from the space comes air, from the air comes fire, from fire comes water, from water comes air. This is the order of the evolution. So the entire five bhutas, Pancha Bhutas arise from him. So that is what the 13th sloka is saying. The 14th sloka, he answers the question of the fifth question that is asked by Yudhishthira. Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo matah idbhaktya pundarikacham staveirarchen narasada.
Sir, I can tell.
Yes.
Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo matah yadbhaktya pundarikaksham stavairarchen narasada.
So he says, Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo matah. This, according to me, me mataha means according to my opinion. Mataha means opinion. According to my opinion, this is the best dharma of highest dharma which I have expounded to you all along. Dharmo adhikatama mataha. Tamaha means adhikatama means superlative. You have the positive, comparative, and superlative. No? So adhiga, adhigatara, adhigatama. So that is the superlative. The best among the dharmas is this is what it is. What is that? Yadbhaktya pundarikacham. With love and affection for pundarikacham means one, the Lord who has got the lotus eyes. Aksha means eyes, pundarika means lotus. So one who has got the lotus eyes, that is Mahavishnu. Stavaihi means he must be means praised. Arche, he must be worshipped. Narasada, that means by Nara means all the human beings, Sada always. So the best among dharmas, what I know is with love and affection, we should worship Lord Mahavishnu, and then we will have to worship him and then praise him. That is the best dharma that I have known so far. That's what the Bhishma Pitama says. This is the answer for the fifth question. Fifth question was Ko dharma sarva dharmanam bhavata paramo mata. So that is what he is answering the first question. The next sloka is going to answer the second question. Paramam yo mahatteja paramam yo mahattapaha paramam yo mahad brahma paramam yaparayanam.
Sujata Gondesi. Sujata. Thank you.
Paramam yo mahat brahma paramam yah parayanam paramam yo mahattejah paramam yo mahattapaha paramam yo mahat brahma paramam yah parayanam.
Paramam means ultimate. So who is the ultimate? Tejas means effulgence, but the Bhagavan is the greatest effulgence. He is the greatest person who has got the, in fact, the entire light and effulgence arises from him. Our Upanishad says, Natatra suryo bhati na chandra tarakam nema vidyuto bhanti kutoye makmihi tameva bhantam manubhati sarvam tasya bhasa sarvam idam iba. That means the Suryan, Chandran, the Nakshatra, Ganas, everything take the source of light is Bhagavan himself. So Bhagavan has got the greatest effulgence. So in front of Bhagavan, the Suryan, the sun god is like, you know, when if you have a torch light in the sunlight, it will not be even visible, no? So that is how the Suryan, the sun god, is in front of Bhagavan. So that is the kind of tejas he has got. Paramam yo mahat tejaha. Paramam yo mahat tapaha. He is the greatest tapas. So that means penance. He has got the greatest penance. He has himself incarnated as great rishis, and then, like, you know, Bhagavan Narayana Rishi, Narayana Nara Rishi in Badrikashrama. He incarnated as Kapila Vasudeva. So like that, he is the greatest tapasvi also. Paramam yo mahat tapaha. Paramam yo mahat brahma. He is the greatest Brahma. Brahma means the big. The literal meaning of Brahatvatvat Brahmanatvat Brahma. That means he is the greatest. That means big. The literal meaning of Brahma is big. Big means, because in English language, you have something called adjective. The adjective is something which qualifies the noun. For example, if I say big elephant, big is the adjective and elephant is the noun. So the big qualifies the elephant. Similarly, if I say big finger, the big qualifies the finger. But I use the same word big in both elephant and finger, but the big is getting qualified by the noun. That means if I say big elephant, I construe big as something big. If I say big finger, I don't give the same kind of connotation for that word big, you know, because I don't consider that big to be equivalent to an elephant. So there also the adjective qualifies the noun. So in this case, that's why they have said Brahma means big. They're not compared it with anything else. So your mind has to imagine big means that is the biggest thing. Nothing else is bigger than him. So that is why he's called as Brahma. So he's called as Paramam Yo Mahat Brahma. Paramam Ya Parayanam. So that means he is the ultimate refuge of all the beings in this world, because ultimately all of us will have to reach the the abode of Narayana. The word Narayana itself means that the meaning of that Narana Mayanaha Narayanaha. That means all the human beings will have to ultimately go to the abode of Narayana, and therefore he is the ultimate refuge, and therefore he is called as Paramam Yap Parayanam. So the second question, Kimva Pyekam Parayanam, so that is being answered in this sloka. Next sloka. Pavitranam pavitram yo mangalanam cha mangalam Devatam devatanam cha bhutanam yo vyayah pita.
Sai Rangiji. Are you there, ma'am?
Sir, shall I say?
Yeah, go ahead.
Pavitranam pavitram yo mangalanam cha mangalam Daivatam devatanam cha bhutanam yo vyayah pita.
Okay, now this here is answering the first question. He said, Imekam Devatam Loke. Here he is saying Devatam Devatanam cha. So Pavitranam Pavitram Yo. That means he is the purest among the purest. The meaning, even for pure things, he is giving the purity to the pure things. For example, let's say Ganga. Ganga is Pavitram. Ganga is, we all know that if you take a bath in Ganga, all your sins are getting washed off. So Ganga is Pavitram. How did Ganga get this Pavitratva? That means how did it get the purity? Because it is associated with the feet of the Lord. So how did Ganga originate? When Lord Bhagavan took from Vamanavatara to Trivikrama, he rose to the sky. So Brahmaji with his Kamandalu, he did the Abhishekam on the feet of the Lord, and that is the water that came out as Ganges. So by getting associated with the feet of the Lord, the Ganga became pure. So he is the person who can give purity to even pure things. So he's called as Pavitranam Pavitram Yo. Mangalanam cha Mangalam. So he gives auspiciousness to the auspicious things. Like for instance, you say, this turmeric is said to be auspicious. Then silk cloth is said to be auspicious. Then banana fruit is said to be auspicious. So yellow color is said to be auspicious. So those kind of auspiciousness is being given by Bhagavan because he's the auspicious, because he is the abode of Mahalakshmi. Mahalakshmi is said to be the Mangala Devata. So Mahalakshmi, he resides in his heart, and therefore since he's the seat of Mahalakshmi herself, he is said to be the greatest among the auspicious things. Mangalanam cha Mangalam. So normally you find the Mangala Vastu is not pure Vastu. Similarly, pure Vastu need not be a Mangala Vastu, but Bhagavan is both pure as well as Mangala. Pavitram as well as Mangalam. Pavitranam Pavitram Yo Mangalanam cha. And that is why he is Daivatam Devatanam cha. So among all gods, he is the greatest among the gods. Why? Because he is Pavitra as well as Mangala. So Daivatam Devatanam cha. So first question, Kimekam Daivatam Loke, he is the supreme lord of this entire universe. Daivatam Devatanam cha. Bhutanam Yovyaya Pita. For all the beings in this world, Bhutanam means all the beings in this world. Yaha, Avyayaha. Avyaya, as we saw earlier, he is immutable. Pita, he is the father of all the beings in this world. Because he is the person who creates the entire universe along with all the human beings, all the beings, not only human beings, all the beings. And therefore, he is said to be the father of this entire universe, and therefore he is called as Pitafa. That is the father of the entire beings in this world. So he is the supreme God in this world. So that is the answer given in 16th sloka. Next sloka. Yatas sarvani bhutani bhavantyadi yugagame yasmimscha pralayam yanti punareva yugachaye.
Sairangi ji.
Yatas sarvani bhutani bhavantyadhyugagame yasmincham pralayam yanti punareva yugakshaye.
So now he is talking about what are the qualities of Bhagavan. Yataha, yataha means from whom. Sarvani bhutani, that means the entire beings. Bhavanti, yugagame. Yuga means at the beginning of this yuga, the entire beings came from whom? The entire the beings came from him. Yasmimsya, into whom? Pralayam, that means at the time of Pralaya, when the destruction takes place. Yanti, that means everything goes into punaha eva, again. Yugachaya. Yugacha means yuga. When the yugas completely get destroyed, finally all the beings go back into him. So from him, everything came at the beginning of the yuga, and to him, the entire things goes back into the yuga. So that is the person Mahavishnu. So our Upanishad says, it's also said in the Taittiriya Upanishad, same message is given. Yato va imani bhutani jayante yena jatani jivanti yat pravit abhisham vishanti tad vijijnasasva tad brahmeti. So this is what Bhrigu is the disciple in this case. He is asking his father, Varuna Bhagavan, to tell me who is Brahma, and therefore he says Brahma is the Brahman, not Brahma. Brahman is the person from whom this entire universe came, and who is being sustained by this universe, and then finally into whom the entire universe goes back. Know that person to be Brahma. So similarly, the similar concept he says, from Mahavishnu only the entire universe came into being at the time of creation, and finally at the end of destruction, Pralaya, entire thing goes back to him. So that is the person called as Mahavishnu. The next sloka, Tasya loka pradhanasya jagannathasya bhupate Vishnor nama sahasram me shunu papa bayapaham.
Can I go on?
Yeah.
Tasya loka pradhanasya jagannathasya bhupate Vishnor nama sahasram me shrunu papa bhayapaham.
So previously we saw he asked for some 6 questions. The 6 questions are: who is the supreme God? Who is the ultimate refuge of all the beings in this world? And who should be praised and who should be worshipped? Which is the best dharma according to you? And then chanting whose name, the entire beings can get out of this samsara chakra. So Bhishma Pitama answers all the questions. Finally, he says the Mahavishnu is the person to whom we should be worshipping. We should be offering our prayers. We should be doing archana. We should be doing everything else, chanting his names. And doing that, we can get relieved of this the samsara chakra. So all the 6 questions have been answered. Now the Bhishma Pitama does stop with that. He asked this 6th question, he has answered this 6 questions. Now he is saying that Tasya Loka Pradhanasya. So that means that person, Loka Pradhanasya, who is the prominent among this entire 14 lokas, Jagannathasya, who is the Lord of this entire universe, Bhupate, O King, Vishnur Nama Sahasramme. So that Vishnu's 1,000 names, Shrunu means listen to me. Oh, Bhupate, O King, listen from me, you listen from me. For what? Papa Bhayapaham, for removing yourselves from the sins of this world. So that means the Bhishma Pitama doesn't stop with answering this question. For the benefit of Yudhishthira as well as for the posterity, he says, please, I'm going to tell you about the 1,000 names of the Lord itself. Please listen from me for the sake of removing your sins from your sins, so that you become completely liberated. So that is the next sloka, that is the 18th sloka, which Bhishma Pitamaha says. Then the 19th sloka is Yani namani gaunani vikhyatani mahatmanaha rishibhik parigitani tani vakshami bhutaye.
Can I go on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Please.
Yani namani gaunani vikhyatani mahatmanaha rishibhih parigitani tami vakshami bhutaye.
So then the question arises, is Bhishma Pitama himself generating this 1,000 names of the Lord? No, that's what he says here. He says, Yani namani gaunani. Yani those 1,000 names, gaunani means guna. The 1,000 gaunani vikhyatan, that means which is, glorifying the gunas of the Lord. That means who is expounding on the gunas of Lord Mahavishnu. Mahatmanaha, Mahavishnu is the great Atmana. Rishibhihi parigitani. These have been, these names, expounding the names, the gunas, the qualities of Bhagavan Vishnu, have been said by different rishis and munis in various yugas, different places. Tani vakshami. So they have been chanted by these various rishis. Tani vakshami bhute. So I'm going to tell you. Tani vakshami, I'm going to tell you. For the sake of bhutaye means for the sake of your benefit, for the sake of your welfare and aishwaryam. So not only it removes your sins, it also gives you a lot of aishwaryam and wealth. So he's saying that I have not invented these 1,000 names of the Lord. These 1,000 names of the Lord have been given by various rishis, various munis in different periods of time, in different yugas. I'm just compiling those 1,000 names and making it a garland and then giving it to you. That's what he says. The next sloka is Rishirnam sahasrasya veda vyaso mahamunihi chando nushtuptata devo bhagavan devaki sutaha.
Can I go?
Please go ahead.
Rishirnamnam sahasrasya vedavyaso mahamunihi chando nushtup tada devo bhagavan devaki sutaha.
So, for any mantram, you will have 3 parts. So first is who is the rishi, second is what is the chandas, and third thing is who is the Ati Devata for this mantra. So let's look at Gayatri mantra. Gayatri mantra is says Savitriya Rishi Vishwamitraha. The rishi for Gayatri mantra is Vishwamitraha. Gayatri Chandaha, the chandas is Gayatri Chandas. Savita Devata, the Surya Bhagavan is the Ati Devata for the Gayatri mantra. So these are the 3 things. Similarly for this Vishnu Sahasranamam, the Rishir Nam Sahasrasya. So Nam Sahasrasya, for the 1,000 rishis, who is the rishi? Rishi is Vedavyaso Mahamunihi. Vedavyasa is the rishi. Now rishi, as I told in the previous class, is the seer. Seer means one, during the course of his meditation, is able to connect with that particular mantra and is able to see that mantra, and therefore is giving that mantra to us. So similarly, Vedavyasa is the rishi who saw these 1,000 names of the Lord. Therefore, who has heard, when Bhishma Pitama uttered it, and therefore he has put it in the Mahabharata, and therefore he is called the Rishi for this Veda, this 1,000 names of Vishnu Sahasranam. The Chandas is the meter. So we have got 7 meters in Sanskrit, and this is called Anushtup Chandaha. Now Gayatri Chandaha is Tripadam. Gayatri is 3 padam. That means the 3 parts. Bhargo Deva Tattavitur Varenyam is 1 padam. Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi second. Dhyo Yona Prachodayate is the 3rd padam. So these are the 3. Each one contains 8 aksharas, 8 letters. So 8 into 3, 24 aksharas in Gayatri Chandas. Anushtup Chandaha. most of the slokas in Sanskrit are in Anushtup Chanda. The Anushtup Chanda has got 4 padas. So supposing if I say Visvam Vishnur Vashatkaro, that is one pada. Bhuta Bhavya Bhavat Prabhu, the second pada. Bhuta Krit Bhuta Brit Bhavo, third pada. Bhutatma Bhuta Bhavanaha, there are 4 padas. In Anushtup Chanda, 4 padas, and each pada has got 8 letters. 8 letters. Vishvam, so in Sanskrit there is called as composite letter also. So Vish means that is one word, not V ish. So in Sanskrit the compound is only one letter. Vish, Vam, Vish, Nur, Va, Shad, Ka, Ro. So that means 8 letters in the first pada. So similarly you have got 8 letters in all this, in each of this pada. So Anushtup Chandaha means there are 8 letters in each pada. There are 4 padas. So that is the Chandas for Vishnu Sahasranama. Chandas means the meter. And who is the Ati Devata for this? Devaki Sutaha, Mahavishnu, Krishna Bhagavan or Mahavishnu is the Ati Devata for this Vishnu Sahasranam. So the Rishi is Vedavyasa, Chandas is Anushtup Chandas, and the Ati Devata is Bhagavan Vishnu or Krishna. Is called as, this is the summary of the Vishnu Sahasranama mantra. Amritam Shudbhavo Bijam Shaktir Devaki Nandanaha Trisama Hridayam Tasya Shantyarte Vinayujyate.
Can I say?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Amrutam Shudbhavo Bijam Shakti Devaki Nandanaha Trisama Hridayam Tasya Shantyarte Vinayujyate.
Okay. Amritamshu Udbhavo Bijam. The Bijam means the seed. The seed for this is, where does it come from? Amritamshu Udbhavaha. Amrita means immortality. So the seed for this has come out of the immortality. Immortality is Bhagavan himself. So the seed has come from Bhagavan himself. So Amritamshu Udbhavo Bijam for this Vishnu Sahasranama. Shaktir Devaki Nandana, which is providing the Shakti, that means the strength for this Vishnu Sahasranama is Devaki Nandana. Because it was Bhagavan, Krishna Paramatma alone took Yudhishthira to Bhishma Pitahama to learn about Vishnu, to learn about the various dharmas. Of course, the internal message of Bhagavan Krishna was, because subsequently that was going to be the end of the Dwapara Yugam. So after Lord Bhagavan Krishna leaves this world, the Kali Yuga has started, and Kali Yuga, the only dharma is Nama Sankirtanam. Harer Namameva Mama Jivanam. Hello, Nastyeva Gatiranyada. And therefore, Bhagavan wanted to give for the posterity, especially for the Kali Yuga, the importance of the Nama Sankirtanam, and Vishnu Sahasranam is the best solution for this Nama Sankirtanam, because it has been uttered by one Bhakta to another Bhakta and has been endorsed by Bhagavan himself, having listened to it, and he has purified that itself. So the Shakti or the strength for that has come from Devaki Nandanaha, Bhagavan Krishna. Trisama Hridayam Tasya. So there are 3 samas, Brihat, Ratantaram and Vamadevyam. These are 3 important samagana. That means the different meters in the music. Hridayam Tasya, because it only goes to say that it is the essence of the Vedas. So everything, as I told you in the previous class, our matam is Vaitika matam. Vaitika matam is nothing which is not contained in Vedas is not acceptable to us. So it is the essence of the Vedas. It says it is the essence of the Vedas. Hridayam Tasya means it is contained. Vishnu Sahasranama's Hridayam is contained in what? Trisama. Now Bhagavan says in Bhagavad Gita, Vedanam Sama Vedosmi. So among the Vedas, I am the Sama Veda. So Sama Veda is the essence of the Vedas. And among the Sama Vedas, there are 3 samas which are the essence, Brihat, Ratantram and Vamadevyam. So Bhagavan says that the 3 samas, the 3 samas are the heart of this Vishnu Sahasranama. Trisama Hridayam Tasya. Shantyate Vinayujyate. Shantyate, for the peace of mind of the human beings, these things have been integrated. Vinayujyate means joined together. They have been all integrated. So for that, by uttering this Vishnu Sahasranam, by chanting this Vishnu Sahasranam, we will get the complete peace of mind. So because of this, because it has been given by a Veda Vyasa Rishi, and Bhagavan Krishna has blessed it and has got the essence of the Vedas, and therefore it obviously will give you the peace of mind. So Chantyate Vinayujyate. The next sloka and the Purva Bhaga completes with that. Vishnum Jishnum Mahavishnum Prabha Vishnum Maheshwaram Aneka Rupa Daityantam Purushottamam.
Can I go?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Akshay ji.
विश्वं जिष्णुं महाविष्णुं प्रभविष्णुं महेश्वरम् अनेकरूपदैत्यार्थं नमामि पुरुषोत्तमम्.
So Vishnu, of course, we know he is the all-pervading Vishnu, all-pervasiveness. Jishnu means one who is ever victorious. Ever victorious. Bhagavan Vishnu is always ever victorious in his fight with the Asuras. Vishnu, Jishnu. Mahavishnu means he is the greatest pervader of this entire universe. Mahavishnu. Prabha Vishnu, that means he is present. That means he Prabhavati. That means he takes different forms also. That is, in different avatars. He comes as Vamana, he comes as Parasurama, he comes as Rama, he comes as Vishnu, he comes as Krishna. So many avatars. So Prabhavati, iti Prabhava. So that means he's taking various avatars for the protection of this Dharma. Prabha Vishnu. Maheshwaram, that means he's the ultimate Lord of this entire universe. The greatest Ishvara. Ishvara means one who is able to control the entire thing. Ishvaratam. Maheshwaram. Aneka Rupa Daityantam. That means Daitya means all these Asuras. Aneka people have taken different rupams, different forms of the Asuras have taken different forms, different rupas. Hiranyachan, Hiranyakasipu, Ravanan, Kumbhakarnan, Dantavatran, so many Asuras, Narakasuran, so many Asuras, they have taken different forms. Aneka Rupa Daityantam. Antam means it brings an end to all those Asuras. So Purushottamam, who is the best among all these Purushas, Namami, I just worship him. So that is what it is. It is in praise of Mahavishnu. So this is how the Purvanga completes. So let me just summarize. So the 6 questions which Bhishma Pitama, which Yudhishthira asked is, who is the best among the deities? Who is the number 1 deity in this world? And who is the ultimate refuge of all the beings in this world? And who should be praised and who should be worshipped? Which according to you is the best dharma in this world? Which you have told me different dharma. So what according is the best dharma? And then chanting whose names the entire beings in this world ultimately get liberated out of this the birth and death cycle. So these are the 6 questions which Yudhishthira asked, and Bhishma Pitama answers all these questions, saying that Mahavishnu is the person who should be worshipped, who should be praised, and who should be chanted, who should be meditated upon, and it should be done on a daily, every day, nityam. Always use the word nityam. So that means you should do it on a regular basis. So once you do that, you will be completely relieved from this entire the samsara bandham. That means you'll be relieved from this cycle of birth and death. And then he talks about the prominence of Mahavishnu, saying that he is the pure, he is the purity, he is the purest among the pure, he is the auspicious among the auspicious. From him only the entire universe came, and into which only the entire universe goes. And the entire creation, the Panchabhutas also came from him. So everything is arising out of Mahavishnu, and therefore he is the supreme Lord, and that's why he should be praised upon. And he doesn't just stop with answering this 6 questions. He says, for your sake and for your benefit, for removal of your sins, as well as to get all this, the welfare, and also to leave, get the moksha, I'm going to chant the 1,000 names of, give the 1,000 names of Lord to you. And the Rishi for that Vishnu Sahasranamam is Vedavyasar, and the Chandas is Anushtup Chandas, and Bhagavan, Sri Krishna Paramatma is the Ati Devata for this Vishnu Sahasranamam. And this the seed of this Vishnu Sahasranam itself came from Bhagavan himself, and the strength itself is Sri Krishna Paramatma, and the Vedas are the essence of the Vishnu Sahasranamam, and they have all been joined together to give solace to the entire humankind. And I am worshipping this Mahavishnu. That's how the summary of this slokas from 7 to 22. The next is Anganyasa Karanyasa. That is what we call Nyasa. That means you purify your body by uttering these kind of these words. Normally we do it Anganyasa Karanyasa. That means you are purifying your body before you utter the Vishnu Sahasranama. So these are the parts of this Nyasam, which is what will complete the Nyasam, and maybe we'll stop it. Or should we stop now? I think we have more time. So let's go ahead with Nyasam. Asya Sri Vishnor Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Sri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Sri Mahavishnu Paramatma Sriman Narayano Devata.
I can go.
Yeah, please go ahead, Shantika.
Asya Shri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Sostra Mahamantrasya Sri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi Anushtup Chandaha Sri Mahavishnu Paramatma Sriman Narayano Devata. अमृतांशूद्भवो भानुरिति बीजं देवकी नन्दनसृष्टेति शक्तिः उद्भवः शोभनो देव इति परमो मन्त्रः.
Yeah, enough.
Okay, go ahead.
शङ्खबृन्नन्दगी चक्रीतकीलकं शार्ङ्गधन्वा गदाधर इत्यस्त्रं रताङ्गबाणिरक्षोभ्य इति नेत्रं त्रिशामश्यामगश्यामेति कवचम् आनन्दं परब्रह्मेति योनिः ऋतुसुदर्शनकला इति दिग्बन्धः श्रीविश्वरूप इति ध्यानं श्रीमहाविष्णुप्रीत्यर्थसहस्रनाम जपे विनियोगः.
Okay. Incidentally, the slokas up to 19 alone are in Mahabharata. 20, 21 and 22 are given by our Purva Acharyas. In Mahabharata, after that, Yani Namani Gaunani Vikyatani Mahatmanaha Rishivi Parigitani Tani Vakshami Bhute. From that straight away it goes to Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkar. These are all subsequent additions by our Purva Acharyas. Anyway, that's only incidental. Now, Asya Sri Vishnu Divya Sahasranama Stotra Mahamantrasya Sri Vedavyaso Bhagavan Rishihi. We already saw that for this Vishnu Sahasranama mantram, the Rishi is Vedavyasa Bhagavan because he is the person who gave through Mahabharata. Anushtup Chandaha, we saw Anushtup Chandaha, which contains 4 padas, each 8 letters. So Anushtup Chandaha. Sri Mahavishnu Paramatma Sriman Narayano Devata. So the Ati Devata for Vishnu Sahasranamam is Sri Mahavishnu, who is the Paramatma as well as Sriman Narayana. All are the same. So Devata. So he is the Ati Devata for this Mahamantra, the Vishnu Sahasranama mantra. Next is Amrutamshu Bhavo Bhanuruti Bijam. So the Amrutamshu, that means I said immortality, the one which has come out of the immortality. Bhanuhu means one is of course the Suryan, the other is Bhati iti Bhanu, that means which shines forth. So Bhagavan himself is also called as Bhanuhu. So you'll find Vishnu also you'll find the name Bhanuhu. So that means Bhagavan himself is the seed for this entire Vishnu Sahasranama mantra. So he is the seed, from him the entire Vishnu Sahasranama mantra. Because when you say the Nama and the Nami and the Nama, they are no different. So in fact, Tulsidas says in Ramanama, in Tulasi Ramayana, whether Rama is great or Ramanamam is great. So there's a lot of discussions going on, and finally he says, more than the Nama, Ramanamam itself is greater. He says Rama was present only at a particular point of time, maybe he ruled for 11,000 years. But after that, lakhs and lakhs of years, we have got the Ramanama, which is able to bring about all this, the welfare of the entire universe, and is even providing solace to people even today. Even Rama is not physically present in this universe. So the Nama and the Nami are one and the same. So when you say Vishnu Nama is no different from Vishnu himself. So that's what is Bhagavan is the source for this entire Vishnu Sahasranam. Amrutam Shudbhavo Bhanuriti Bijam. Devaki Nandana Srashteti Shaktihi. Devaki Nandana is Bhagavan Krishna. Srashta means one who is the creator. Srajati iti Srashta, one who is creator. Iti Shaktihi. That means, as I told you earlier, he is the Krishna Paramatma, who is this creator of this universe. Himself is the strength for this Vishnu Sahasranam. As I told you, because he was the person who was instrumental in bringing both Bhishma Pitamar and Yudhishthira together for the chant, for this birth of this Vishnu Sahasranam, and therefore is called as Devaki Nandana Srashteti Shaktihi. Udbhavat Chobano Deva iti Paramo Mantraha. The mantra for this Vishnu Sahasranam is Udbhavat Chobano Deva. That is the mantra for this, the entire, the essence of this mantra is Udbhavat Chobano. Udbhava means, Bhava means the future, the tomorrow. Udbhava means one is above the Bhava. All of us are only worried about tomorrow, what is going to happen, what is all this fear. So one raises about the fear of tomorrow. That means he raises about the time limit, which is not conditioned by time. He is called as Udbhavaha. Bhagavan's name is also, one of the names is Udbhavaha. Chobanaha. At the same time, Chobanaha means one who, completely mixes up everything, because the Lord himself create this universe by mixing up the Chetana and Achetana. That means he created this universe by bringing up this Achetana and this body, along with Chetana, which is the Jiva. So he's put the Jiva and the body together. He's mixed up through his Maya Shakti. So Maya Shakti is the greatest Shakti of the Lord in creating this universe. Udbhavat Chobano Deva. Deva means he does it as a play. So Bhagavan does this entire creation as a play. So he is called as Udbhavat Chobano Deva iti Paramo Mantra. That is the mantra for Vishnu Sahasranama. Shankabrin Nandaki Chakriti Kilakam. Kilakam is what is nailed. That means it's anchored. What is anchored for that? Shankabrin Nandaki Chakriti Kilam. All these ayudas of the Bhagavan. Bhagavan has got 5 major ayudas, Panchayudam. Shankam, the conch. Shankam, Shankabrin. That means he is holding the Shankam. He is holding this conch in his hand. Nandaki is his sword. That is his sword of the Lord is called Nandaki. Chakri means Sudarsana Chakra. So these are all the things which protect us from this. So when you utter these things, so when you say all these things before Vishnu Sahasranama, all these ayudas, the Panchayudas of Bhagavan will protect you from anything, any untoward things which are likely to come from different directions. So that is why we say this ayudas are the protection for the chanting the Vishnu Sahasranama. Sharngadanva Gadadara Ityastram. Sharngam, that means the bow of the Lord. Sharngadanva Gadadaram, that means he holds this Gada. So the 5 ayudas are the Chakram, Shankam, Gada, sword and the bow. So these are the 5 ayudas of the Bhagavan. So these things are acting as a protection for us while we chant the Vishnu Sahasranama. Rathangapani Rakshobhya iti netram. Ratha Angapanihi. That means there is an episode to it in Mahabharata. In Mahabharata, when the war was about to take place, Bhagavan says that I'll be on the side of Pandavas. I will not take up any arms in my hands. So that is the pratigna that Lord made. That is, I will not touch any weapon. That is the pratigna. But then Bhishma Pitama made a counter pratigna. He said, I will make the Lord somehow touch the weapon. That was his counter pratigna. So the war was going on. So on one of the days when Duryodhana provokes Bhishma Pitama, saying that Bhishma Pitama is always, one-sided. He's always got a lot of love for the Pandavas, and that's why he's not fighting to his full vigor. That's what Duryodhana provoked him one day. So Bhishma Pitama says, tomorrow I'm going to make the Pandava Nirmulam. That means I'm going to kill all the Pandavas. So he started showering arrows at Arjuna. At that time, Krishna Paramatma became so angry. So immediately he came out of his chariot, and then took Rathangapani. That means one of the chariot was broken. He took the chakra of that chariot, took it in his hand as chakra, and then went towards Bhishma Pitamaha. So Bhishma Pitama said, oh my Lord, you promised that you will not touch any weapon. Now I made you touch that weapon. So that is the Bhagavan's greatness. The inner meaning of this is, the subtle meaning of this is, what Lord wanted to convey to Bhishma Pitama was, you made a pratigna, but also you had an objective in mind. He says, my objective is to protect Dharma. To protect Dharma, Pandavas are on the side of Dharma, and therefore I want to protect them. If I have to protect them, even if my promise is broken, doesn't matter. The objective is I must protect the Dharma. That is why I've taken this Dharma. Whereas you, Bhishma Pitama, you have made a promise. What promise? You made a promise that whatever be the Hastinapura king, I'll support the Hastinapura king. But as a Kshatriya, your job is to protect the Dharma. When Duryodhana is on the side of Adharma, because you made a promise that I'll be on the side of Hastinapura, you are protecting the Adharma, which is against the Kshatriya Dharma. That was the message that the Lord was communicating. The second aspect is that Bhagavan doesn't mind his promise being broken, but the promise of his devotee being fulfilled. His devotee is Bhishma Pitama. So he wanted to fulfill the promise of that Pitama. So that is why he took that Rathangapani in his hands in the Kurukshetra war, and therefore Rathangapani Akshobhyaha. Akshobhyaha means one who cannot be, complete. He cannot be changed at all. He is very firm. Akshobhya means one who is very firm in his routines, and therefore he cannot be completely changed at all. So he's called as Akshobhyaha iti netram. That is the eye of this entire Vishnu Sahasranama. That means the Lord's ability to protect his on the side of Dharma is his eye. Trisama Samagas Sameti Kavacham. We already talked about Trisama, the Brahat Ratantram and Vamadevyam. That is the Kavacham. That means the covering for this entire Vishnu Sahasranama. Sameti Kavacham. Anandam Parabrahmeti Yonihi. Yonihi means the source. The source of this Vishnu Sahasranama is Anandam, happiness, Parabrahma. The Brahma means the greatest Anandam. The ultimate Anandam is the source of the Vishnu Sahasranama. Ritus Sudarsana Kaleti Digbandaha. So the Kala iti Digbandha, Sudarsana Kalam. Sudarsana Chakra represents the Kala Chakra. And therefore Digbandaha means it is the covering for this entire, the eight disas. You have the north, west, south, north, east, west, north, south, northeast, northwest, southeast, south. The entire 8 the directions are all protected by the Sudarsana Kala Chakra. Shri Vishwarupa iti dhyanam. You should meditate upon this Lord as the entire universe. Vishwarupa iti dhyanam. Shri Mahavishnu Prityate Sahasranama Jape Vinyogaha. That means for the sake of, for the pleasure, happiness of Mahavishnu, I am let this Vishnu Sahasranama Japa be recited me, and therefore for the pleasure of this Vishnu Sahasranama, let it be used, or I chant the Vishnu Sahasranama for the benefit or for the happiness of Mahavishnu. It's like Karma Yoga. You don't do anything for your sake. Even when you do a Sankalpa, you say Sriman Narayana Prityartham, Sri Mahavishnu Prityartham. So that is what you say. So you don't say anything for your own sake. So here also he says Mahavishnu Prityartham. I chant Vishnu Sahasranam for the happiness of Mahavishnu. So that is what this Nyasa portion is there. So then we move on to maybe in the next class the Dhyana Shlokam. Dhyana Shlokam talks about how the Lord has to be meditated upon. There are different ways of meditating on the Lord. There are about 6-7 slokas on that. After that, we move on to the 1,000 names of the Lord as such. So I think let's stop with that. We have about 8 minutes. Any questions, anything, any doubts you have on that so far, you can ask that.
I feel very blessed to be taught by such a learned person. My sincere namaskaram to Guruji.
Thank you. Thank you. It's all God's grace only, I would say. And my Guru's grace.
Thank you so much. We are covering many shlokas, and there is a lot to absorb. And last time when I went over the video, it kind of ingrained it in my mind a little better.
Okay. Okay.
So I humbly suggest that we record every session, because every session is a pearl. Every session is, so if you record everything, then we can go over again and relearn and
sure.
Manasula nanna padiyum. So
I understand.
So yeah.
Actually, this the initial portion I'll go to a little fast, but when you come to the Nama portion, we can spend a lot of time, because that is where I think the focus will be on each of the Namas of the Lord. That's what our focus is. Here only it's mainly the setting and the purpose and what are the questions and what are the answers that Bhishma Pitama gave. That is the initial portion of Purva Bhaga. But still, if you have anything, doubts or anything, definitely you are free to ask me.
But even here, you have so many side stories and so many facts that are very useful, and it will be very good to have a video of every session.
Yeah, of course. I think they are recording it. I can see the recording on this.
Thank you so much.
The session is being recorded, ma'am. As soon as the recording is uploaded, we will send it to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
First session has been sent it in the group, and we got already. It was on the YouTube.
Namaste, Guruji.
Yes.
So for the question, in all dharmas, which is important dharma? I did not get the answer for this. I mean, I'm not clear. Like, which dharma is the greatest?
Which questions you didn't get answer?
In all dharmas, the fifth question, Ko dharma sarva dharmanam.
Ko dharma sarva dharmanam. Yes, there is an answer. I will tell you the shloka. 1 second. Shloka number 14. Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo mataha ed bhaktya pundarikacham stavairarcher naras sada. So that is the answer to the fifth question. Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo mataha. So according to me mataha, according to my opinion, Yesha me sarva dharmanam dharmo dikatamo. Among all the dharmas, this is the best dharma. What is the dharma? Yed bhaktya pundarikacham. That means with devotion, pundarikacham means one who has got the lotus eyes, which is Mahan Vishnu. Stavaihi, he should be praised. Archaihi, archaihi means, that means he should be worshipped. Naraha, by human beings, sada, always. So the human beings with love and affection should always praise and then worship Lord Mahavishnu. This is the best dharma, that according to me, that's what Bhishma Pitama says.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Namaskaram, Guru Garu. Thank you so much for these classes, Andy. I have a question, sir. What does Adi Devata means?
Ati Devata means who is the chief deity of this particular sloka or this mantra.
Oh, okay. Got, thank you.
Yeah.
Guruji, I have a question.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you spoke about this Samaveda, right? And Trisama, you mentioned. I didn't quite get that.
So there are different the Gana meters in Samaveda. The chief among them is three: Brahat, Ratantaram, and Vamadevyam. These are the three important meters. Bhagavan says, "I am the Trisama."
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Like you have this, the Chandas I told you, Gayatri is one Chandas, Anushtup is Chandas, Brahat is one Chandas. So there are about 7 Chandas. Like that, the music also has got different meters, and the three important are this Trisama. This one.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Can you please repeat the Kali, where he enters in Kali Yuga, something you said, told, right?
Pardon?
Kali, where he enters?
Kali, the moment Bhagavan Krishna left this universe, Kali Yugam started. That's what it started. Therefore, at that time when Parikshit was the king, so he meets him on one of his encounters on going to the forest. Therefore, he wanted to kill him. At that time, Kali said, "This is the age given to me. Bhagavan has got 4 yugas. So Kali, I'm supposed to be in this particular yuga. So you cannot kill me. So as a king, you have got to give me a place to live." So that's why he gave these 4 places, and finally gave one more place also, 5 places for the Kali to stay in this. So as long as you get away from these 5 places where Kali is said to be present, you will be away from the evil effects of Kali.
Guruji, can I have the names of those 5 places?
5 is Dyutam, that is gambling. Then Suna, that means killing. That is people, indiscriminate killings. That is called Suna. Then you have the Panam, that means it's alcoholic drinks. Then illicit sex. And 5th one is the Sona, gold. So extreme addiction to gold is also one form of Kali's effect.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
So, Guruji, this is Satya. Namaskaram.
Namaskaram.
Going back to your question on Dharma, right? So, here they are referring to something else, right? Because it is not very clear. So, Dharmam, the way I understood this, giving, offering. So, just devotion to God, how that would be Dharmam?
Dharmam has got so many meanings. What you are talking about is Dhanam. What you are saying is Dhanam. Dhanam is giving, is called Dhanam. So Dharmam is, in fact, even religion is also called as Dharma. Finally, in this Charma Song, Sarva Dharman Parityaja Mamekam Sharanam. That's what God says. So in this case, Dharma is, one way of understanding Dharma is the duty. What you are supposed to do is also called as Dharma. The root word is Dharyate Anena iti Dharmaha. That means that which is being supported by this is called as Dharma. For example, if you say sugar, the Dharma of sugar is to be sweet. You don't say bitter sugar, no? The moment the sweetness is removed from that sugar, it is no longer sugar. So the Dharma of sugar is to be sweet. So that means the Dharma is something which is the essence in that thing is called as Dharma. So the essence of human beings is love, devotion to the God. And therefore, we are called as one of the reasons. Of course, it has got many meanings, including, you're right. In Tamil, we say Dana Dharmam, we say, no? That means Dharmam, you say, that means you offer it to somebody, then you call us. It's actually Dhanam. Dhanam is also one of the duties of the human beings. It's also a Dharma of the human beings. So, in that sense, Dharma has got many meanings. Of course, in this sense, the essence of everything is called as Dharma.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, I have
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Can I continue?
Sure, go ahead.
Sir, you spoke about the highest dharma, that is chanting Lord's name. Like in these days, we don't have so much guidance. So I'm just asking, do you have like list of dharmas that according to the order of their importance that we have to follow in our daily lives? Like for example, the Lord in Bhagavad Gita told Arjuna to give more importance to his Kshatriya dharma than his dharma of showing affection towards his cousins and kith and kin. So in our daily lives,
in principle, general principle, I'm just saying, there will always be conflicting situations in your life. So which dharma to follow? So in general principle is the path that you take which will benefit larger sections of the society supersedes the other dharma which may not benefit to the larger sections of it. That's what the general principle in dharma. When there is conflict of dharma, that's what it is.
Okay.
Guruji, Namaskaram, Guruji.
Namaskaram.
One quick question, Guruji. In the very beginning of the sessions, in the first class, you had said just chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam itself will give you moksha. We don't need to. Yeah, can you elaborate on that a little bit more, Guruji, if you
please? See, there are something called Anushtana Grantha. Anushtana means you got to follow what is said in that particular Grantha. You take Bhagavad Gita, it says the Karma Yoga. Bhagavan says you follow this, follow that. Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Sharanagati, whatever it is. There are some Granthas which are called Parayana Granthas. So Vishnu Sahasranam is Parayana. Parayana means just reciting, chanting the Vishnu Sahasranam is enough because that contains the names of the Lord. So in the Kali Yuga, the best dharma is Kalau Harer Namameva Mavajivan, Kalau Nastyeva Gatir Janeta. That means in Kali there is no other. It's very difficult to follow the what you call this Karma Yoga or Jnana Yoga. You don't have time to do all those things. What you can do in a simple way is chant the name of the Lord. Chant the name of the Lord itself is sufficient to remove all your sins from this world. So it will take time. It's like, when you want to, if there is a big, huge tree, banyan tree, you want to just, you just want to remove it. There are different ways of you can just cut down the branches and then you can remove the root and all those things. Those are all Karma Yoga and so much. The other one is if you have, the termites. The termites or the lot of termites get into that branch, ultimately the tree itself falls down. So the Nama Sankirtanam is like that. If you keep on chanting that, ultimately all your karmas and your papas and your sins, everything will get completely wiped off. So that's the reason why Vishnu Sahasranamam is a Parayana Grantha. Just chanting the name of the Lord over a period of time will completely remove all your ill effects of your karmas and vasanas and ultimately lead you to the right path. That's the thing.
Thank you.
Arunaji, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Yeah, Namaste Guruji. He said in 19th one, Rishibhih Parigitani Tami Vakshami Bhutaye, you said that I'll tell you later. Or do you want to continue now? Or?
No, I didn't say later. He says, Krishna, he says, these 1,000 names of the Lord are not something which I have invented. These have been said by rishis over different periods of time. I'm just compiling them and then I'm telling you, Tani Vakshami Bhute. That means I'm telling you for the benefit for your welfare. Bhute means for Aishwarya. For all for your welfare, I'm going to say the 1,000 names of the Lord. All I said was, in Mahabharata, after the sloka number 19, it straight away goes into Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkar. Mahabharata doesn't contain these other slokas and Nyasam and Dhyana slokams. That's all I said. These have been later added by Purvacharyas in our Vishnu Sahasranam chantings.
Thank you, Gurugar. Thank you. Sorry, which you're saying something else.
No problem.
May I ask a question, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Go ahead.
So I think it's a great blessing for me because to learn this Vishnu Sahasranam meaning, actually I work at sea. Most of the time I'm not like a normal person who is on land, I'm at sea. And this pandemic has brought me here. For the last 3 months I'm here. I have almost learned how to chant it. That's number one. Now my next mission is how do I by heart it? I'm just trying very hard, sir. That is not getting it to me. I want to get to a state where I don't use the book. When I can do so much of other things in my academics, why I'm not able to do this for so long? I don't know. So that should be some way I should get in. I don't know. That's what I just wanted from you, sir.
What you can do is every day some 3 slokas you will by heart. That's enough. So 3 slokas, maybe over a period of 3 months you will be able to by heart everything.
It comes into a system, is it? Just like
yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So because if you look at the enormity of it, if you say, 108 slokas, how will I memorize? Just 2 slokas, 3 slokas per day, definitely you can go at it. So
I did try this, but what happens is over a course of week, I remember the other ones very vividly. And when I try to recall my earlier ones.
What you should do is when you go from the 4 to 6, you should again chant 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You should not leave the other 3. So that's how that's the catch in that. So you will have to, once you start learning the previous ones, you will have to go 1 to 6. So that's how you'll have to go.
Okay. Thank you. I'll just make this attempt. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
I have one question.
Yes.
You have said about Pavitram and Mangalam in some sloka. What do you exactly mean by Pavitram and Mangalam, and how to follow in day-to-day life? Like
Pavitra means purity. So that means the purity in body is when you take bath regularly, clean yourself. Purity in mind is always having good thoughts about Lord, chanting Vishnu Sahasranamam, chanting some names. Having good thoughts in the mind is purity of the mind. Mangalam is auspiciousness. So that means that to bring about some good things in your life. So auspiciousness is not necessarily the purity. So Bhagavan is both auspiciousness and the purity as such. So that's what it is.
Like
purity is within your control. Auspiciousness is something which you cannot do, but it will happen to you once you stand doing it. This one.
Like for example, it is 5 a.m. in the morning for me, so I did not take bath seriously, but I sat for hearing about the God. Is that okay for Pavitram or Mangalam? I'm worried whether I'm doing right or not.
No, that is only Pavitram. That's okay. It doesn't matter. But as long as your mind is pure, it's enough. The mind is more important than the body. Because mind is under your control. Body may not be under your control. So, but mind definitely is under your control. As long as your mind is pure, it's okay. That's it. Then once the mind itself will make you say that get up at 4 o'clock, take bath. So that will happen over a period of time.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
Guruji, what about ladies' problems monthly? Can we chant those?
That's okay. I think chanting the name of the Lord, I don't think there is any problem in that, because the Lord's name is pure. So there is nothing wrong in chanting the name of the Lord. So maybe other things is okay, but chanting the name of the Lord, you can do it. There is no restrictions on you should not chant when you have this kind of a problem or something. That's what my personal view is, but maybe people can have different views on that.
Thank you, Guruji. Thank you.
Because as I said, the mind is different from the body, and the mind doesn't have any impurity. Impurities is only in thoughts. If you have impure thoughts, then it's a problem. As long as your thoughts are pure, and to make the thoughts pure only, we are chanting all these things. So in fact, Vishnu Sahasranamam, there is no, it is being addressed to a, Sattvika Devata. There are no restrictions also. You don't have to, in fact, my Guruji used to say, okay, if you take bath and do it, it's well and good. But if you don't take bath, don't say that just because I'm not taken bath, I don't want to chant the name of the Lord. Please do it, no problem. So whether it is a daytime or nighttime or whatever time it is, you can chant Vishnu Sahasranam. There is no restriction on that. So going by the same concept, I'm just saying that there is no restriction in not chanting the name during those periods. That's what.
Thank you, Guruji. Amitaji, can you please say the ending prayer?
Yeah, sure. Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varaname Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varaname Sri Rama Rama Rameti Rame Rame Manorame Sahasranama Tattulyam Rama Nama Varanane Sri Rama Nama Varanana Om Namaiti.
Hari Om, Om Namo Venkatesaya. Pranams to everybody. Dhanyavad. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.